Hi, I'm Sarah Malini. I wanted to come and give some direct information about the workshop that's coming up on Sunday. I know it's also Mother's Day, so some of you may have plans with your families, or perhaps you're just whisking yourself away on a lovely Sunday, or you're in a time zone that this doesn't work, so it will be recorded. This workshop is one that I think you'll probably want to go back to and re-watch. So everyone who registers for the course will receive the recording. And the reason for this is because we're going to be looking more deeply into the idea of kitchen medicine. We're going to be looking at it from an Ayurvedic perspective. So we'll be going into all of the herbs and spices that are in your kitchen, what they do, so that when you're cooking, you can assess what you're feeling in your body or what you're noticing in the environment, and you'll know the potencies of the herbs and spices that you have, and you can make thoughtful decisions about how you prepare your meals. So you could be preparing a very similar meal every day, for example, but because of what you'll learn about the personalities of all these herbs and spices, you'll know how to augment them to serve your needs. Of course, you could also be changing the substances, but if we want to keep this really substances, meaning like the main dish, the vegetables or the meats or whatever. But this will give a liveliness to the kitchen, and it will allow you to feel like you can actually take care of yourself without having to sign up for like a superfood list, things like that. And so everyone will get the PDF of what the different herbs and spices do. We're going to be spending some time also talking about this concept of Agni Dipan. So Agni is a fire, and for our purposes, we're talking about the digestive fire, the Jatra Agni. And a Dipan, something that does a Dipana, is something that puts a light into something, or it kindles. So a lot of the herbs and spices that we cook with ideally are doing Agni Dipan, which means they're lighting the fire of your digestion so that you can consume the foods that you're eating. It makes them usually more digestible. There are also herbs and spices that do something called Amapachan. So we'll get into this in this program, also is the foodstuffs that are undigestible, either because they are undigestible, they're called Virud Aharas. This is like food combinations that don't really work, that create like a sludge inside you that cannot be removed without cooking it. Or you can also experience even if the food is like a superfood. If you're unable to digest it because of pre-existing slow digestion, or the season is makes it difficult for you to digest, or the season of life makes your digestion change, etc., or you've been sick, for example, then even foods that are super are not going to be super for you, and you'll need some support to do Agni Dipan, to kindle the digestive fire, and then to do Amapachan, to cook the things that are kind of stuck within you that can't be removed without cooking. So we're going to be getting into those topics and then looking specifically at the herbs and spices in your kitchen, like ginger, like cumin, like black pepper. We all know we cook with them a lot, cinnamon. But what do they do? What are they good for? Like I was saying in the post yesterday, if you have a relationship with the spices, you kind of know them personally. So it creates a relationship with the food that you're eating. It's not something you just do or have or own. It's more about creating a connection and then allowing those spices, those food groups to do their magic within you because you chose them. So it creates more discernment, for one thing, and I find it allows people to feel more in charge of their health rather than doing what they have read or heard, which doesn't really work for everyone. So there really is no such thing as a superfood. There really is no such thing as like a healthy meal, because like I was mentioning with if you can't digest it, even if it's from the most organic farm ever, You know, if you can't digest it, it's not healthy for you. So to allow ourselves to become free from that paradigm that something is symbolically healthy, and instead feel what is health, because health is an experience. It's not a stagnant moment in time that we're gripping to. You know, if we grip to health, we lose it. So, and thus we need to be able to augment our dishes, our meals with herbs and spices, which will allow a continuous Agni Dipan, a continuous kindling of the digestive fire, and a regular Pachan, a regular cooking of the kind of the sluggishness within the body that comes from foods that are hard to digest or circumstances in life that makes food hard to digest. So that's the essence of this program that's going to be happening on Sunday. Like I mentioned, it will be recorded, so if you can't attend live, you can still register, and on Sunday afternoon, I will send you the link to download the files. If anyone has any questions, you can please send me an email, or you can send me a DM here, and I would love to answer. The course is $30 USD, and it runs on Sunday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. We'll have a really lovely PowerPoint, which I'm in the process of finishing. And the other thing I wanted to mention is we're also going to talk about foods that I have labeled like misused foods. So there are foods that are like health foods, like coconut water, like kombucha, and then there are foods that are just kind of casually in our, especially American diets, like wine and beer, ketchup, mustard. Trying to think what else I've put in there. I'll just take a look instead of guessing. How about that? Like fasting, triphala. These are all things that are sometimes misused, but are deemed like good for health. So I wanted to talk about what they do in the body, and so that you can again make intelligent decisions about when to choose them. So for example, there is a discussion in the Bruhatrayi, which is the Ayurvedic text where a lot of this information is coming from, that says that we shouldn't be having substances that have the same qualities as a season we're in. So we'll be looking at something like red wine, for example, which is very hot and sharp and pungent and sour. And then we'll look at the season of the summer, for example, that we're moving toward. And that season has very, very similar qualities, and also this red wine is usually dry. So we'll notice that those qualities are going to be very similar to the season. So when we drink red wine in the summer, especially at the height of summer, it's going to cause us more suffering because it's no longer supportive to the body than it would be if we took it in the winter, when the body has more power and the digestive system can handle more. And sour foods, sharp foods, hot foods are more appropriate at that time. So there is a time and a place for everything, usually, sometimes. And so when we can use discernment about how we take things, it allows us to create a relationship, not just with the food that we're taking and a respect for the food that we're taking and the spices that we're using, but also to understand that we're participating in a holistic environment, and to become literate at reading the environment creates a stronger relationship as an understanding that we're part of a whole, which also leads us to health, right? If we isolate ourselves and live in a vacuum, we'll become unwell because we're going to be disconnected from the experience of life, which is one of connection. So again, if you have any questions, please send them my way, and I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Bye.